Hello everyone, welcome to my Applied Assignment final project. My name is Ellie Anderson, and this is the Society, Disability, and Inclusion class at Arizona State University, otherwise known as SPE 223. Alright, over on slide 2, I have my table of contents. This is just a general overall template of what we're going to discuss today. I'm going to dive into my topic, the reason I picked it, my prior knowledge, course materials, as well as my own research. I have the class research that I focused on, as well as new learning, what connections and evidence I used to support my topic, as well as new questions and ways to follow up after this class, as well as how I will learn more. This is another table of contents that is specifically tailored to what we're going to talk about in regards to my topic. So for the pre-work, we're going to talk about communities and daily life, how it affects those with disabilities, experiences with ADLs. We're going to talk about my own research and course materials that I found. We're also going to discuss what I learned and more of those evidence and connections. And then a continued question that I have is, how will communities change to support those with disabilities? All right, we're diving into that pre-work section. My topic is daily life. And why did I pick this? I wanted to see how daily life includes or excludes those with disabilities. I wanted to see if those with disabilities feel like if the world is set up for them to have success or if they have to work harder. I was interested to know if they think that the curb cuts are enough or the walk signs telling you that you're able to walk is loud enough. I wanted to know if you can get by without a large print menu. The aspects of inclusion that I picked is communities. This slide is my interview. I interviewed my twin brother, Zach. My previous background with him is I have lived with him for 18 years. I am very knowledgeable in the things that he does to get by, as well as how he lives his life. Zach has cerebral palsy and is legally blind. He also has a seizure disorder. I did input some symptoms of seizures over here off to the right-hand side. Continuing background knowledge of him is that he can't be left alone due to his seizures, and I know how he gets around. During our interview, we started with his diagnosis, which I learned he had a grade 3 and 4 brain bleed. Hearing about the medical definitions are always very interesting to me. Zach does not often talk about having special needs. He does not like to have special needs, but he does understand that this is something that, he was given and he's dealing with, and so he makes do just fine. We talked about how his daily life is affected due to his diagnosis. Again, he cannot be left alone due to his seizures. We talked about how he goes out in the communities in his daily life. He blows up pictures and text messages to be able to read them. He uses voice to text to respond to messages, and he also uses voiceover. The course materials that I used from this class are the Universal Design website over on the right-hand side, and also the undergraduate students' attitude toward towards individuals with disabilities. I learned a lot in each source. I think the Universal Design goes very well with communities and daily life as far as, are the spaces that we live in equal and equitable for those with disabilities? Can they move around? Is it easy for them to move around? Do they have to work harder? Do these 7 principles of universal design, are they enough? And how can we change certain areas? How can we change spaces that we frequent to fit in the universal design and to fit in, to make sure that our individuals with disabilities are feeling seen and heard and they can move around enough. The sources that I found from my own research was a website titled "How Do Disabilities Impact Daily Life and Activities?" In this specific website, we learn about community and social participation, recreation and physical activities, education, employment, community resources, and independent living. I also found a website that is "How to Be More Inclusive: 8 Ways to Be More Inclusive for People with Disabilities." We learned about seeking input from those with disabilities, as well as not assuming what is or is not possible. Another idea would be to talk about disability history. We're going to move on to my evidence. This is my link to my notes with Zach to my interview. We're going to discuss new learning. We are talking about inclusion. Inclusion is more than equality. It's about creating environments where people with disabilities feel welcome, valued, and able to participate equally. This topic inclusion relates to this topic because everyone deserves a chance to feel equal in their daily life. Focusing on equity. Equity is recognizing that people have different needs and making sure resources and supports are given out fairly to provide everyone with the opportunity to succeed. This means possibly providing a personalized idea of what each person will need to thrive. The accommodations and resources make sure that everything is not just equal, but everybody is getting what they need to thrive. Access. Access means removing physical, sensory, and communication barriers so that people with disabilities can participate fully in daily activities and community life. We remove barriers for people with disabilities in creating a more accessible, universal design. We're going to focus on my continued questions. Now I want to know, now that we have learned what changes and what will help, how do we make those changes? How do we advocate for change? Is it, calling our senators, and is it calling the people that have the ability to do this? Is it, advocating for individuals with disabilities? Is it showing that these areas can be improved? What does that look like? Also, I wanted to focus on where to find the specific changes, how to make accessibility and inclusion more normalized. A specific example of that is a large print menu. Zach currently blows up. He will take a picture of the menu and zoom in on the pictures. Or most of the time what he will do is he will have somebody read the menu to him. That is not promoting independence. What I would love is for more areas to offer large print menus. Now we kind of get into the nitty-gritty of what does that look like? What is the money area looking like? Are we going to make large print menus for every company? How are we going to do that when you could just blow up a picture on your phone? But is blowing up a picture promoting independence? Does that feel the same way as sitting at a table with your family and friends and you being able to look at the menu by yourself? So that was something that I kind of had a question is how are we going to make accessibility and inclusion more normalized? The question that I have for my peers what would changes and access to communities and accommodations look like? I would love to hear your thoughts on that. I have really enjoyed being in this class, and I really enjoyed completing this assignment. That's all I have today. Thank you guys so much for listening.